Collins, thank you. The chair, Kipsa is also here. Charles Ochome, thank you, welcome. Kipsa chairman, Johnson Ishoka, thank you. And officers from the Ministry of Interior, Julius Mukwe, the Assistant Inspector General, Tiang Kupet, my friend, Secretary General Kero, welcome, and the members of the Fourth Estate, welcome. I am today standing before you to make perhaps my most significant address to the nation since His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, appointed me Cabinet Secretary for Education nearly 2 months ago. Over these 2 months, I've taken time to personally consult widely over the status of our education sector, which is arguably one that attracts interest from every household. For in every home, there is a child. More importantly, my appointment immediately drew me to the deep of the sector with the national examination season racking and the need to clear the matter that was the grade 6 cohorts transition to junior secondary school under the competence-based curriculum. By good fortune, the head of state, in keeping with his promise as outlined in the education charter of Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, stepped in with a brilliant decision to appoint the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. By dint of the team's preliminary report, the President has already directed that the junior secondary school be domiciled in the existing primary schools. What did this masterstroke decision of President mean? It means that parents will now not lose sleep over finding grade 7 presence in secondary schools, which could have become their worst headache ever had the President not saved the situation. Secondly, domiciling the junior secondary within the primary school level means that the expected crisis of a double intake in our already congested high schools was averted. Lastly, it means that the newly constructed classes in secondary schools that were initially meant for the junior secondary school level are now available to ease our strained infrastructure in the secondary schools. We therefore expect to have a relatively peaceful path to the achievement of the 100% transition policy of government during the Form 1 admission next year. Amid the smooth administration of the national examinations for 2022, I have, together with my top administration, subjected the sector into a quick baseline analysis with a view to finding an anchor upon which the new government can roll in its interventions. Based on this analysis, we have realized that for us to raise the sector performance a notch higher, we must anchor our management on the following. 1. Robust stakeholder consultations. As a ministry and working with the key agencies, we will work together with all sector players while embracing regular consultations and public participation in line with our constitution. In this, we will take a cue from the example already set through the Presidential Working Party on education reforms, which has combed every part of our country to correct the views from all Kenyans. 2. Ensuring staff and technical officers work with the formidable teamwork. We will redouble our efforts to motivate our staff at the Ministry of Education for them to deliver service to Kenyans in one spirit. I promise to work with all stakeholders to ensure staff deployments, recognition and promotions are strictly based on merit and are carried out in strict conformity with Chapter 10 on values and principles of the Constitution. I am arrived at the fact that regardless of how smart our policies will be, they will always be doomed to failure unless our implementing staff are motivated to work well, since they sit at the execution desk and close at the consumers of our services. 3, forecast reform of policies and regulations. We are looking the Presidential Working Party to make recommendations about laws, policies, and regulations in our sector. We have seen a number of attempts to amend some of the existing laws, policies, and regulations, a few of which are currently pending before the National Assembly. Under my stewardship of the sector, we will carefully consult with all stakeholders with a view to driving the reform processes to a decisive and logical conclusion based on the recommendations of the Working Party. We will appeal on the respective committees of the National Assembly and the Senate to be patient with us as we will regularly knock on their doors as we seek these legal and policy reforms. Inevitably, many of the expected reforms will stem from the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party when it completes its work early next year. This being my inaugural function for the release of KCPE examination results, I feel ready that we have successfully administered 2 national examinations concurrently at the primary school level, and the results for the KCPE examinations are ready within a period of 20 days. I wish to thank His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for his leadership and support during the conduct of the 2022 KCPE examinations. The President led the multi-agency team and the Cabinet Secretaries in monitoring of the administration of KCPE examination, where they visited examination centers and exhibited support for the candidates. My Cabinet colleagues praised the morning code to be at the examination containers in solidarity with the contracted personnel, approved that the current administration is determined to maintain a credible national examinations. I also thank our teachers for their instrumental role in the preparation of candidates and the participation in the administration of the 2022 KCPE examination. I applaud the center managers, supervisors, invigilators, examiners, sub-count directors of education, deputy county commissioners, and security officers who played exemplary roles in helping us deliver a credible examination. In his recent directive on the domiciling of grade 6, 7, and 8, His Excellency President William Ruto ordered the Minister of Education to provide further guidelines on the transition. Following this directive, I formed a multi-agency committee to draft the guidelines that will guide the transition. Specifically, the committee is expected to draft the guidelines that will effectively ensure a seamless transition from primary school grade 6 to junior secondary school, facilitate effective leadership and management of junior secondary school, promote consistency in the implementation of the junior secondary school curriculum, including teaching and learning and assessment, ensure the provision of adequate, appropriate, and safe physical infrastructure and a learner-friendly environment for all learners, including those with special needs and disabilities. Ensure the provision of adequate and well-prepared human resources to facilitate curriculum delivery for junior secondary school. Finally, outline the roles and the responsibilities of key stakeholders in the implementation of the various components of junior secondary school. I expect to hold a meeting with all stakeholders in January 3rd, 2023 to consider and release the guidelines so they can provide a roadmap to all players as they prepare for the junior secondary school. Already the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development has released the grade 7 curriculum designs and instructional materials for use at the junior secondary school level. Arising from the presidential directive and cascaded to the Kenya National Examination Council by myself, the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment will not be used for placement of the runners in a junior secondary school. The CCCA report will, however, be part of the process of monitoring of runner progress. I have directed the Kenya National Examination Council to upload the report of the assessment on the school portals in January 2023 to enable schools to develop strategies